Are you serious? Are you serious? This is going to blow your mind. The mystery of the crop circles may actually be part of the mystery of your health. I know what you're thinking. Don't do it. Don't say it. Give me a chance. You're going to find out how these two mysterious phenomenon, really. I mean, I'm always amazed by the crop circles. I just can't figure this out. But I'm always watching, trying to keep an eye. Of course, we study what's going on with the paranormal, the UFOs, UAPs, what have you, and with this disclosure. But maybe the real disclosure you're going to get right now. And helping me to understand that is my good friend, Patty and Chris. Both of them are here with us today.
Hey.
Oh, Happy New Year.
It is a happy new year, guys. How are you guys doing? Good?
So good.
Fantastic.
There's no question that the crop circle is a great mystery. And there's no question that the health benefits of C60 EVO is a great mystery. I mean, even though you've explained it, Chris, a lot with your scientific analysis, it's still a mystery. But maybe is there some similarities here? Guys, help me understand this.
Well, we have an exciting program today because I finally talked Chris into taking your audience into the lab to see some of his massive machines that blew my mind. When we first met, they flew me to Texas and I had to audition for a day so they knew that I was worthy. And then day 2, I got to go in the lab. And they opened the door and this waft of over 100 degrees blew me over. And they're used to it, no big deal. So, we walked in and everything's huge and I'm little and everything's even bigger the deeper you get. And then the piece de resistance is in the back, this huge metal reactor that weighed tons. I swear it fell out of a spacecraft or something. It looked like Star Wars.
We're going to see that today? You're going to give us a tour?
You're going to get close to seeing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't unveil everything. Okay.
Yeah, Chris he's being very generous. You're going to see 80% of the lab, but the reactor, I had to go 24 hours before I passed the test. So,
and then we also shined a light in her eyes, and she's forgotten almost everything. So
that'd be awful. Well, when we had our first shows in the beginning, because Chris and I are a little bit different in our thinking and lifestyles, he was going to put a shock collar on me that he could control from Texas. Every time I said something weird, he'd just go, But we've come a long way. I've actually heard him repeat a couple of words from my crop circle languaging. So when I heard him describe with the schematic how ESS 60 is literally made in the lab by, he's going to show you taking graphite rods and burning them at the heat of the sun. I mean, into dust, into, it's so amazing. But when I first saw the machine in the lab, I looked at it and I was like, God, that's huge. And then something weird came over me where I said, does it do this and then this? And I moved my arms in a weird way. And he said, yeah, how'd you know? I thought you weren't mechanical. I thought I was safe bringing you in here. And I said, oh, you are. I had a dream. And now I'm here. Like totally weird how he and I got together. But it was interesting because that was in 2019. And today somebody sent a testimonial about the shows we've done this week. And the lady said, Patty, you look 25 years younger than 2020. Now, 2020, I was freshly poisoned by uranium by this loser. And I was sick as crap. And when Chris and Robert invited me on a Friday to fly out Monday, I was all about it. But Friday, I was rushed to the emergency room in an ambulance from the uranium poisoning. Anyway, I've been through a few things because I knew the truth about crop circles.
Okay.
I was in over 100 of them. And my final film was this one, Crop Circle Diaries, where I was taken into the lab of the only scientist in the world, William Levengood, and shown this machine that actually they re-engineered to recreate crop circle frequencies because crop circles are growing up to 400% more food and biofuel per plant with up to 75% more nutrition per seed. So they re-engineered crop circle frequencies into this mechanical machine and started delivering lots more food with those seeds. And I do have a photo of the machine that they re-engineered crop circle frequencies, and it is so simple. Charge density plasma set at 30. I have no idea what that means, but I keep waiting for somebody technical to say, I've got this, because I care about bringing back the organic food supply. So how crop circles really happen got me in trouble, because everybody's lying, all these years. They're fake. They're made by humans. They're made by spaceships. They're made by the military sending lasers, a bunch of crap. And my final film, I went into the lab of William Levengood. He had died a year before. And it was like going into Chris's lab and seeing that machine. It was like, oh my God, I've seen this all. He's been dead a year. Why am I knowing all this? And
what? Just popped on the screen.
Wait. Who is that? What is that?
This is one of my many EB Awards. I won 5 of these for Best Film, Best Music, People's Choice. And then the losers decided that they needed to remove me from Earth. So a couple of attempts later, I was 25 pounds less after the uranium, fainting, and I got out of the house and rescued myself. But I had this formula, and I started taking it, and here I am today, 5 years later, like absolutely kicked
you were, for those of you who may not know this, she was poisoned, uranium poisoning, because of all of these films she did. She won all these awards disclosing. You're the original disclosure before now these guys are going to do the quote disclosure. But you say this saved your life.
It did. I'm still here. I mean, every day I knock on wood and I just go, I win. And I do my happy dance.
Can we take a shot of it then together again? I mean, guys, seriously.
I mean, if you insist.
I must.
So he's gone out of the bottle. I'm going like a lady on a spoon.
Right. And I just take a shot. Okay. You can tell the different cultures.
Cheers.
Cheers.
God,
cheers to you guys. All right.
The reason we like to do this at the top of the show is for the simple reason that it boosts your brain power. I mean, you'll see in 10 minutes that the three of us will be a little more foxy in our minds and a little quicker with words to come. But for me, I did give up the UFO field because all the greats that I was making in my movies, I mean, I filmed the most amazing people. I interviewed the head of the research center that was in this crop circle, 409 crop circles independently placed in Fibonacci sequences in a spiral. That's pretty outrageous.
How can people get your DVDs? How can they get those?
Oh, thank you. CropCircleFilms.com. You can easily find me, CropCircleFilms.com. You can stream, you can get DVDs, old school. Believe it or not, I still sell a lot of DVDs, but the films have been really suppressed. And what I've dealt with makes me hardly be sympathetic with all the people that lost their channel or that's got, you have no idea what I lived through, but I'm still here. And I landed in a spot where I get to be a co-owner delivering this to the world now. So I feel like it's a God moment for me that this is my karma, that I get to be doing something that I don't think anybody's going to, kill me because of it. It's just so effortless and clean. Plus any, legal stuff that happens, they take care of. They're the boss. I'm just the girl on the air smiling and, knowing things about crop circles. But what happened when Chris describes the reactor that you're going to see was that he described that they were going counter-rotating spin in this huge machine that he will explain. And I said, wait, did you say counter-rotating spin? And we're on a show live. And I was like, stop, wait, my brain is blowing up because that's how crop circles are made. So crop circles, and people can hate me all they want for telling the truth, but truthfully, they are coming out of the earth. They're not coming from the sky or spaceships or aliens in the earth. They're actually the earth energy itself, delivering messages of information in a language we all understand. crop circles. Everybody looks at a Thunderbird photo of a bird and they say, oh, that's a Thunderbird in every language. A sacred geometry, you're going to spin it. And all of a sudden in my movies, I started counter rotating crop circle centers. And it was like spacecraft technology. It was 0 point energy. I mean, we went nuts with learning about crop circle spin because we're spinning plasma vortices with intention coming out of the earth. And at the base of a vortex, when it spins to the exact frequency desired to create that message in the field, it lights up like a ball of light from the heat. Those two balls communicate between the balls of light, and the crop circle happens in seconds. It's absolutely amazing. And the field wasn't like this the day before, the night before, but we wake up and there's a brand new crop circle, can be third of an acre, 2 acres. They're just insanely great. And I've been in more than 100. So it was effortless to make the movies. But the counter rotating vortex of spinning plasma is all it takes to create a crop circle with intention. Thus, the information, the message, the picture. So,
wow.
right?
So, okay. I mean, this is blowing everybody's mind is that you're saying it comes from the earth
Without a doubt.
instead of from the aliens or from the sky. So in other words, I mean, and here you are, you're the queen of UFO movies. So you're saying, look, this is coming from the earth and it's counterclockwise is what I'm hearing.
And rotating.
Now, how does it tie in?
So one's going clockwise, one's going counterclockwise.
Yeah.
They're opposite directions, spinning vortices coming up from the earth with the information already of the message to be delivered, goes into the field. This one was so intentional. Now that's massive, and it was huge. I think it was in Eastfield, 1996, or was it 2010? I can't remember. I saw so many of them. But my friend, Charles Mallet, who owned the research center, walked the entire perimeter of the 409 circles, and it rained all night, so his boots were like, it's really hard walking in wellies, which are the big rubber boots, when you're walking in mud, and believe me, I've done it. So Charles said he did the whole perimeter at 5:30, and there wasn't one footprint, and that field was empty the night before. So there's no way a human can do that. And the man I was touring with at the time, my boyfriend, man friend, lays out huge homes in Telluride, Colorado, and he knows that you can't build anything that fast, that big, that precise. So crop circles are real. And what I went through for telling the truth was what a lot of people are going through today with telling the truth. And we were talking about the deep state 15 years ago. Now everything we were talking about is right here, right now. So I've had to be really patient and really optimistic. Incredible. Because there's nothing left in ufology that I'm interested in. You know, all the greats left in a very short period of time. They all died, and I got wounded. And my first wounding was a directed energy weapon hit after I spoke at an event. It was bad. And so I've been through it, and I have no mercy for any of them. I hope that the whole ship of fools goes down at the same time any day now. I think we're really evolving as a species. But the reason I can say all this is because my brain is alive on this product. And it's the reason I'm still alive. I love my Evo.
So I mean, okay, now, Chris, let's segue to you. And you're going to take us through the lab. You're going to take us through the lab. And then you're going to connect the dots here between the crop circles and this incredible product, folks. Go right now. Click on the link below the video. Go to www.c60evo.com/Paul Begley and save 10%. Plus, there's a lot of just tremendous savings there. You got to go. You just got to go. Chris, take us down this path, please.
All right. So I have a couple of slides. I think you might have access to them. So the first thing that I want to point out before we even get to the slides is everyone in your audience has already been exposed to this molecule. It is a naturally occurring molecule. And the evidence I would provide is if you collect the soot from a candle flame, and you usually do that by putting a cold steel plate over a candle flame, and you'll get that deep, dark soot on the bottom of that cold steel plate. That deep, dark soot has parts per million or parts per billion of the ESS60 molecule. This might even be a good time to mention the ESS-60 molecule was discovered in 1985. The 3 scientists who discovered it won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of this molecule in 1996. Our lab has been manufacturing and distributing it since man, I got confused there. Since 1991, right? A full 5 years before they won the Nobel Prize, we were manufacturing it and delivering it to research institutions around the world. So pretty amazing. I'll just share, they thought the molecule would be toxic. They put it in a toxicity study. Instead of being toxic, the test subjects that they gave it to, in this case, Wistar rats, lived 90% longer than the control group. And our most consistent testimonial is people take it in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. How do you make this amazing molecule, right? Because this is a pretty trippy looking molecule. Again, looks like a soccer ball. This is a reactor. This is a very simple version of the reactor. Basically, you have to vaporize graphite rods at the temperature of the sun. So you can see in this drawing that you've got the graphite rods, they're going towards each other. And when this is running, there's actually a beautiful arc, a plasma arc between these two, and it's vaporizing graphite. Why do you need to use the temperature of the sun? Well, it turns out that graphite is one of the hardest materials on the planet to vaporize. So you, in fact, do need temperatures of the sun. You can see we've got cooling, right? Because if you have a temperature of a sun in a vessel, you've got to cool it. Yeah. So there's lots of cooling. The whole chamber is cooled. Even these arms through which you've got copper rods that are attached to the graphite rods, those are going through, those are chilled. You can actually see a vacuum pump. If you run this reaction in the presence of any oxygen, it will not produce the ESS-60 molecule. Wow. And if you run it at room pressure, right, it won't produce as much. So you actually have to run it at a slight vacuum. So here's how complex the process is. You see down here, we've got the vacuum pump. We actually have to take that vacuum pump, vacuum out all the air, and then you see this helium gas. We put helium back into the chamber, and then we vacuum it out again to get rid of any remaining oxygen and put helium, but not up to air, standard pressure, to just below standard pressure. And then you start running it. We monitor it from this window, from this looking glass. Now, so you can watch it. It's a beautiful arc. As you're watching it, if you don't use welder's goggles, you will burn out your retina because it's the local temperature of the sun.
What?
Yes. Yeah. If you let the light shine on your skin, you will get a sunburn because it is the local temperature of the sun.
The sun. Yeah.
So you've got your welder's goggles, you're watching this, you're vaporizing, right? So you have this massive current coming through to create that plasma, vaporizing the graphite. And if you don't rotate those rods, they'll actually start to deposit and vaporize and start to make a pointed section, right? Which is not good for production. So same thing happens if you rotate them the same direction, they'll erode and deposit in the same way. So by rotating them in opposite directions, you make sure you have a nice parallel surface. And that plasma and the counter-rotating graphite rods is what really kind of triggered Patty and tied, like, basically her career, right? Like her awards and everything to what she continues to work with today. So it's pretty exciting.
Amazing.
Now,
I've got a quick question. Has anybody ever gotten burned being near the reactor, like not remembering to cover up enough?
When you say burn, you mean like a sunburn?
A sunburn. Have you guys?
Yeah, I speak about that from experience.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, it's not a brutal, it's not instant, right? But if you're exposed to the sun, you get a sunburn at some point. The same is true. And I speak about that from experience. I wouldn't do that today, but I was a young 19-year-old college student at the time playing with this pretty fantastic piece of equipment, which, by the way, that technology that we have and continue to use, which is a dramatic improvement on what you're looking at here, is still the best way to make the ESS-60 molecule, all these 34 years later. Pretty fantastic. Now, as you're vaporizing these graphite rods, you get what's called fullerenic soot, and I'll kind of explain that in a second. But interesting about this fullerenic soot, if you had a pile of it in your hand, kind of very similar to ink toner that you might put in your printer or in your copy machine. If you drop it, almost none of it will hit the ground because it's so light and fluffy. It's a disaster to work with it. It's like, it's a big pain in the butt. And it turns out that that soot, that pain in the butt soot, is 90% garbage and 10% of what we're after, 10% of fullerenes. And I'll talk about fullerenes in a second. So we've got to actually separate out the parts that we want from the 90% amorphous carbon garbage. And the way we do that is the same way. Let's say you had a mixture of sugar and sand. How would you separate those two? Well, you would pour water in. The sugar would dissolve in the water. The sand, of course, would not. You would filter it. The sand would stay on top of the filter, and then the sugar would go through the filter in solution, and then you would boil off the water, and you would have your sugar crystals. Same thing here. It turns out there are some solvents that the amorphous carbon is not soluble in, and the fullerenes are soluble. And so you put it in that solvent, you filter it, that 90% of garbage stays on top of the filter, and through comes solution. You boil off the solution, and now you have a fullerenic, what we call extract. And this is kind of a picture of extract here. Now that extract is about 80% of the carbon-60. This is for industrial purposes, but 80% carbon-60. You can see that that's that beautiful spherical molecule, looks like a soccer ball.
Right.
And then the next most abundant fullerene is the carbon-70 molecule. And you can see that looks a little bit rugby shaped. And so then you have all these other higher fullerenes. The next step is actually to separate those carbon-60 molecules from the rest, because those are the only molecules that have been tested, the only ones that I would consume. And how you do that, I'm actually going to skip ahead here. You get a little bit of preview. This is Robert, my business partner, and I in the lab. You can see that's got a little purple tint. That's because it's the same color of ESS60 in a clear liquid. And this piece of equipment right behind me is called an HPLC, a high performance liquid chromatography machine. This is how we test it. From this machine, we get these kind of, I could orchestrate this better, but we get this kind of graph. This is not actually an HPLC graph, but you get this kind of graph where it's kind of like a urinalysis, right? Where you can see the different components that comes out of the HPLC. And it comes out of that column. It's kind of hard to see. This got a little bit better picture. That's a stainless steel column that has a material in it that allows the carbon-60 molecules to go through first, and then slows down the carbon-70 molecules, slows down the remaining molecules. That's the same technology we use to isolate the carbon-60 molecule. We obviously do that at a much bigger scale. And then once you isolate that, you've got to do further processing to get it to the point where we would call it ESS60. Again, we think of C60, carbon-60, for industrial purposes, and there's peer-reviewed published research that proves if it's improperly processed, it's harmful. ESS60 is C60 that's been processed for people and pets. I don't know if you have any questions there. Let me blow through. This is where our production facility. I don't know. Let me stop here if there's any questions about what I've gone over so far.
No, but it's fascinating that the process of the creation of the molecule and the separating of it from the other molecules, and that how that you took the C60 molecule and then it was tested and proven by giving C60 to rats, as you've explained in other episodes, and how these rats lived 90% longer lives without any cancerous tumors and miraculous. I mean, these are really remarkable discoveries. And then you've translated that into a product that is safe and acceptable for humans. So you're now walking us through the scientific chemistry of this process, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, and our next step is actually a longer step. It's less dirty, but it's a longer step, and that's where we mix it in the oil. So you could take a pile of that extract.
Olive oil?
Well, olive oil is our preferred oil. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Go ahead.
So when we started production, started bringing this to market, we used these vessels, this kind of smaller one in the middle. And you might say, hey, that kind of looks like something you would make beer in. Because it is. It's a stainless steel vessel that we modified the top to so we could get a mixer in there and we could mix it for 3 weeks. We have to mix it for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. If you think about, okay, you got to produce it using the temperature of the sun, and then you have to mix it after you've isolated it, which is also chemically challenging. And now you have to mix it for 3 weeks because it just doesn't dissolve. Think about it this way. When you take sugar and you put it in water, in the beginning, the sugar just dissolves instantly, right? But as you start to add more sugar, it becomes less soluble because it's getting saturated. Well, imagine that high part of the curve where it's hard to get more sugar to dissolve in it. That's how this ESS60 molecule is in all the oils from the very first moment. Now, it's really important. Why do we do 3 weeks? Because we have this test equipment to understand what the actual saturation of the product is. We can test it day in and day out. And the reason I think that's important, at one point, we tested 22 of the products in what we call that industrial C60 space, and they were woefully low in concentration. Why were they woefully low in concentration? I'm a very altruistic person. I don't think anybody's doing anything. I try to believe that people aren't doing things on purpose, but they should be doing them better. Like, I think we can agree that they should be doing them better. The reason I think that it's wrong, that they have the wrong, is the original study, right? The study where we provided the material and were mentioned in the original study used an Erlenmeyer flask, just like this, a small kind of triangular shaped flask, and it mixed and it reached peak concentration at 2 weeks. Now, it's not rocket science to go, hey, the way that a fluid would flow in this Erlenmeyer flask is not going to be the same way it's going to flow in this beer container or even this kind of chemical reactor chamber, right? The fluids are going to flow differently. Because we have that HPLC, we could test we could test multiple times a day. You know, if you're another facility and you don't have the HPLC, and by the way, you have to have a very specific column to be even able to test for the material, right? You have to have the right technology. So if you don't have that technology in-house, then you're mixing it. If you need to test it multiple times, you're sending that sample out. Your production is waiting, and then you get the results back. That's just not happening. That's what I believe. And so they're mixing it for 2 weeks in a vessel this size and getting a woefully low in concentration. So again, you know, temperatures of the sun, 3 weeks of mixing. If Patty and I were like, hey, we should start a health and wellness business, we probably wouldn't choose this molecule, right? Because it is really hard to work with.
Tough to make, right?
But it chose us, and we're very happy to get in there. Another thing I do want to point out, you can see it better here, this blue tube, and it's actually here in this picture as well, and the tubing across the wall, it's actually nitrogen backfilling. So when you're mixing it for 3 weeks, you're mixing it at a high rate, and there's this big vortex in the middle of that olive oil, right? Vortex. And if you had oxygen at the top of the container, it would get folded into the olive oil, right? And that's not good for olive oil. So we have this nitrogen buffer gas. So anything that's getting folded in is an inert gas that will not react with the olive oil or the ESS60 molecule. That's a really important component. And that's actually a flow meter. So we know we're constantly flowing a positive pressure of nitrogen gas into the system. And yeah, that's our director of research, kind of doing some QA QC. And this is our lobby. So we have our giant ESS60 ball in our lobby.
Incredible process. Way more sophisticated in its composition of how you create this product than I had any ideal.
Right.
You know, I mean, what it takes to separate that, to create the C60 molecule, then to separate it from its other molecules, and then to create the rotating vortex in the opposite direction, and mixing it. That's a process, getting it into the olive oil, the 3-week process involved in all of that, and the fact that you have the technology to keep testing it as you go so that the product is guaranteed to give each and every one of us out there the opportunity to have the product in its purity. Is that the good word? Is that word?
Yeah, and it'd be highest concentration and highest purity. Absolutely.
Yeah. And concentration, I want to go simpleton because some people might not understand what all he just said there, but concentration level is how much ESS 60 is in this bottle. And the fact that they have the HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography machine, to go in repeatedly and test how is the formula at 1 week. Not enough concentration. At 2 weeks, not enough. At almost 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Boom, they got it. So the larger the vessel, the longer the time. They discovered that after having a few different sizes. But what he said that I think is really important is that they tested 22 other businesses selling what we sell,
Right.
but not selling what we sell. And the only lab other than us is, I'm pretty sure, in China. The rest of them aren't happening. And when people say we have our own lab, well, now you see what it takes to have a lab. We've had ours for 34 years. Chris and Robert know what they're doing. They've experimented. He's already gone through the burn process. But I don't take it lightly when people pretend that their products deliver 90% life extension. Well, yours don't. Ours did.
I see.
Ours is the one at the test. And when I hear third-party tested, I'm like, what, your daughter? Your cousin's niece? Like third party, the one that brags the most has 10% of what their label says. And they are third-party tested. And, the top of every, it's really kind of funny how misinformed everything is. But Bobby Kennedy Jr. is cleaning it up. And he has received 3 collection sets from us.
Uh-huh.
We're doing it the Maha way. We're going to help make America healthy again.
Yeah.
And, the fact that that's the team we're working with makes us feel really good. So it's not about dissing other products. It's about educating the public to look for ESS 60. Because if you see the other one, which is, we also sell it for tires, batteries, ink, photocells, C60 industrial. We do sell that, but only for industrial. So if you want to buy products for people and pets, you want to get ESS 60. Really important distinction. It's only because it's safe.
And you guys have done a great job today in explaining how the process works, why this is the purity. This is the actual, the mystery. Okay, the mystery is solved. The rotating vortex, the separation of the C60 molecule from the other molecules, the nitrogen gas, so that it doesn't pollute or dilute,
oxidize
the olive oil. The fact that you use olive oil, and of course, in the award-winning aliens that keep going by, and the crop circles keep forming, but all of it is because this is the miracle. And so it is, folks. It is. I mean, I've lost 62 pounds.
Wow.
And I have to credit part of that to this. Of course, yes, change of diet, absolutely. But all the different things. But it helps to have the energy level and yet be able to sleep through the night. And that is what C60 gives to me. And I'm sure it can help you too. So go right now to www.c60evo.com/Paul Begley. You can save 10%. Click on the link. It's below the video. Click on it. Go there now and be ready to turn around your life almost as fast as a crop circle spins off the earth. Is that true?
Yeah, but I got to one-up your offer. We have an insane offer for your audience.
Okay, let's hear this one.
Pull up the landing page with it's our name, his name, C60EVO, like evolution.com /Paul Begley. And you will get to our landing page. Paul, make sure you refresh your landing page so that you have our ridiculous holiday special, 40% off. We've never done this. I caught Chris on a weak moment during the holidays, and he said, okay, we'll do it for a little while. It's still going today.
There we go. There it is. There it is.
Those are our 2 top sellers right there. On the left is the organic olive oil. And we didn't bother mentioning, we don't just sell olive oil, but ours is from Tunisia, cold pressed, extra virgin organic olive oil from a specific farm in Tunisia. We're really doing it right for people's bodies. And on the right, we have the 2 other top sellers, which is the same, the 4-ounce olive oil, plus the advanced facial serum, which is absolutely divine. Divine being a perfect word for this channel, because that's how you'll feel when you put it on your face. All natural. and it's got the ESS60 miracle molecule all over it. So here we are offering 40% off if you choose to buy 6 bottles of olive oil. And we have learned that it takes basically 3 months to achieve full saturation in your system so that you can enjoy more energy, more clarity of mind, and deeper sleep. 3 months is a really wonderful way to give it a go. And if you're getting 6, then you've got enough for 6 months or 3 months if you want to double up and really power up. Or if you are a triathlete, you're going to want to double up on race days, because they say, no, I don't have pain afterward when I prepare before with C60 Evo. So that you can buy 2 of them, you can buy 3 of them, you'll get a nice discount. But 6 items of our top sellers, you're going to get 40% off while it lasts. And I know that Chris is going to pull the plug one of these days because they're flying out in 6 packs. But that makes us happy because we know that 6 people might be able to try the product, or 1 person might have 6 months of improved everything. So if you go down a little bit, we also are doing the combo set. It's called our starter set. When people say, where do I start? What's the best products to, introduce myself to your company? It's the olive oil and the facial serum. And boy, are you going to see a difference within a short period of time if you're a normal person that has sent us testimonials. I can't say it's going to work for anyone. I'm not allowed to, but boy, oh boy, my friends and family love me for sharing this with them. And we also have one more offering, which is quite wonderful. It took me a minute to get the boys at the lab, the men at the lab, to give in to do facial serums, body creams, lip balms, hair renewal. But as soon as they did, they started researching further, and they discovered this incredible peptide called UTH29, Youth 29, that kind of number that we all want to pretend we're stuck at. And when you what we did was we didn't want to have chemicals or emulsifiers in our product. So we chose to separate it because one's cream, a water base, one's an oil base, and they don't mix without emulsifiers. So we decided to have the customer do it fresh in the palm of their hand, activate each time you use it by blending it there. And you're going to see wonderful results with the peptides and the wonderful essence oils. And the ESS60. So again, 40% off if you buy 6 sets, a nice discount on 2, discount on 3. This is going to be one of the best deals you'll ever see from us, unless we do it again next Christmas. So great time to take advantage of 6 packs. And if you go further down, anybody that's wondering, are these 3 just unusually good skin and energy, or are they really telling the truth? Go look at our testimonials. It is truth after truth after truth. People are loving Evo. They're just head to toe testimonials. I'm not allowed to say any of those issues, but they do, know. And everybody that calls me is like, oh my God, this doesn't hurt anymore. Oh my God. So it's really fun. Chris and I have a lot of fun with the thank you letters and the testimonials, because C60 Evo works.
It is working, folks, and it can be yours too. Just go to that link below the video, www.c60evo.com/Paul Begley. Get in on the savings. Check out, it'll take you right to the website. So if you click on that link, it takes you right there, and then you can go through and get these great deals, great offers, and a great product. And you guys are great guests.
Thank you.
And we found out how crop circles are spinning in opposite direction, which is creating a vortex, a mystery vortex that is also the same thing that goes on in the development of the C60. I mean, this is just crazy.
It's crazy. For people that want to know the truth about crop circles, this is my final film that got me in all the trouble, because I take you into the lab again of William Levengood, but you actually see everything in the lab, because when the lady turned her back and she said, no, you can't bring in the movie camera, I said, well, how about just this little one, a couple snapshots? She left the room. Patty Greer took 84 pictures in 4 minutes. I don't know how I did it, but I was rolling like a speed train. And it was really fun. But cropcirclefilms.com is here. And like I said, this is the one that's going to blow people's minds. What's really going on. But to land in the world of ESS 60, to survive all that I went through, and to share it with everybody that's going, are you kidding? I like it. Thank you for saving me. Because it's,
Wow.
I mean, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. It's like, I think we're all being saved, in our own way, but we have to have a willingness. And the last thing I want to say about plasma, because I love talking plasma.
Okay, plasma.
Everything is plasma. Everything. He is, I am, my tea is, everything's plasma, and everything is frequency and vibration. So when we are conscious enough to say, I want to send my thoughts, feelings, words, and actions in that direction to create something beautiful, what we're doing is we're sending our plasma field with energy. Energy in motion, emotion, is the way to change any situation. So if we're conscious that we can move our plasma field with intention, we also know, unfortunately, it's a great thing that if you spin plasma in a positive direction and you have the positive intention of having the crop circle be this pattern or whatever, you'll probably create it. But what I learned with the directed energy weapon hit is that the way they're doing it is spinning the vortex in a negative direction with negative intention. And so creating matter, positive, deleting matter, negative spin. So when you're counter rotating, you're creating a 0-point field, free energy, spaceship technology, crop circles, ESS 60, big bottle.
Tied in together, guys. It's all tied in together. The math works, the science works, the product works. Find out more about it at www.c60evo.com/Paul Begley. Save everything you can on this. Get the savings. Chris, Patty, thank you guys for coming on, being with me today. This was a great show. I mean, very, very informative. And folks, you can find out about the great product as well. And do that right now if you want to. Go quickly to www.c60evo.com/Paul Begley. Save on the products. And until next time, God bless all of you. Crop circles are forming.